Hello YouTube, it's Pacman here, and today we'll continue with doing our chat app. Today I will show you how to do login screen, and today I will show you how to do the login screen but only in UI, so only user interface, without any logic, without calling Firebase, so without any API calls in the background. Just user interface, and in further streams I will show you how to do the basically logic of logging user in and using the Firebase authentication and Firebase Cloud Firestore. So let's just start. Of course, subscribe to my channel, give a like if you like it. But yeah, let's just start. So what is the agenda? First of all, I will show you how our UI will look like. Basically, our chat application will have email and Google login methods, and then we'll just test our UI to see if it works. But it will be mainly to see if the phone keyboard is showing, and if we can write anything in the email or password input, and basically that's it. Maybe firstly I will tell you all about this chat application. So the idea of the chat application that I will be developing live is that this will be a chat application like Omegle or whatever it is pronounced. So the idea is that the chat application will try to select a random user that also is searching for a user to chat with. So basically two random users will be able to chat together, and then they will have a chance to basically chatting. But if one of those users does not like the other user, or does not like the messages, then anytime any user can just stop chatting and try to select other random user to chat with. So yeah, the idea is of that random chat. That is the idea of the random chat application. But okay, let's just talk about the UI. So the idea of UI is that we will have this is an application that I made in the past. It's only available on Polish Play Store, so that's why it's written in Polish. However, as you can see, we have like email and password inputs, text inputs, we have the login button, and then we have Google login button. So the idea of our login screen will be to do such thing, of course, with different colors and maybe some different styling. We'll see. So yeah, I guess we can just basically start doing these things. So if we go to our Visual Studio Code, we can see that we are in the place where I have finished last time. So basically a home screen where we show basic information about the test user from Firebase Cloud Firestore. However, we'll not change this today. We'll just create a new screen. Let's just create a login screen. So Dart file. Let's just make it stateless widget. Let's just name it login screen and just return scaffold. Of course, it needs to have its own root name. Let's just name it login. Let's remove unused imports. The scaffold won't have any bar. This screen won't have any bar. That will have just body. So yeah, we could do, of course, make all the widgets in a column in the login screen. However, it's a good practice to split widgets between files, so not everything will be in just one login screen.dart file, but I will split it into between different widgets. So I will create the form in a separate widget. So let's just name it yeah, login form. Of course, it's not created yet, so I will create that in a second, and that will be just constant login form. And let's just create login form in widgets. Let's just make a new folder called login and new file, login form .dart file. In the meantime, you can leave a comment or whatever you want. For now, let's just no, I will just make it stateful widget. I will tell you later because we'll need different yeah, text editing controllers to control our email and password inputs. But yeah, since we have created the login form, we can import the library login form that we have just created. Of course, we can put constant to the whole scaffold. Yeah, let's just save it. So now we'll here need to return column, and main axis alignment will be set to center. If you want to know how to align widgets in a column, then I have created a shorts video about that. So yeah, you can find it on my channel. I also create a video about how to aligning widgets in a row as well. So yeah, if you are interested, then please, you are welcome to to watch it and give a like. So children, I will just leave a comment here. So first of all, we need to have some kind of email input, then password input, then we will need to have some kind of login button, and then we'll have Google login button. Of course, email, password, and login button, maybe this could be wrapped in a card so that those buttons are kind of separated from each other, or I'll just think how to do that. Or maybe we can also wrap the Google login button there as well. Of course, whenever we'll have a new user, then the login button should be changed into register button as well. And here we should have some kind of information like no account button that will change our email password form into registration form, which will be also email password, but also confirm password, password input only in registering form. So now what we can do, we can go to the main.dart file and we can change our home screen to login screen, not login form, login screen, and we can remove the home screen from unused imports. So yeah, maybe what I can do, we don't need that anymore. Maybe we can open the okay resizing problems, as you can see. However, we can run the emulator and see how it looks. So yeah, our emulator is up and running, so let's just start our application by running it without debugging. So our application is trying to start. Of course, when you run it for the first time, it will take a little bit longer than you run it for a second time and so on. Oh, okay. Actually, it was up and running because obviously we have only empty column there. So maybe we can, yeah, let's wrap the column with cart. Oh, we don't have this widget in the suggestion, so let's wrap this widget with cart. And let's add some padding, because we don't want to have edges. I mean, for text input forms just next to edges of our cart. And what we can do, we can also, yeah, start writing the inputs basically. So to do that, firstly, what we need to do, we need to write text editing controllers that will hold all the email password, confirm password inputs created by the user. So let's just start by writing the text editing controller, like email controller, text editing controller, and we can just rename it to password and to confirm password controller. Always remember, of course I did it in the wrong place because it needs to be state on a state level before build project, because it's stateful widget. We can add the dispose method when we can dispose our controllers. So we can just recopy. Of course, we have implemented the dispose method. That's really important because every time you close whenever you don't use this login form anymore widget that is not displayed, then we don't want longer to have our memory rubbished by those controllers basically. So yeah, we can just remove them. So next thing, what we'll do, we'll just create those inputs. So first of all, we'll create an email input. To do that, let's just create new file, and it will be called text form email.dart file. Of course, we need it to be under the login. And let's make it stateless widget. So text form email, it will be stateless widget, and as an argument we need to pass our text editing controller. So I'll just name it like this, and it will be of course required named property. So I'll just use it in a constructor. And here, what we will return, text form field, and as our controller we'll pass the controller, and let's just use it in our of course not constant, because we will use the controller there, text form email, and controller will be our email controller. As you can see, something has changed. Finally we have the controller there. However, let's just a little bit change the styling, because I don't see the card there. So to change that, well, let's specify the color scheme here. So it will be color scheme from swatch, and then let's say the primary swatch will be colors dot violet, maybe. Oh, there is no violet. Okay. Purple, deep purple. Let's do it deep purple. Let's save it. We can see that our input color has changed. Let's specify the card color. To see our card, it will be purple accent. Let's just see how it works. Seems like it doesn't work like that, because maybe we can also specify the card color here. And yeah, now we can see that our card is basically taking whole space of our screen, and we can fix that by assigning the main axis side to min. Now if we save it, we can see that our card has been minimized. Capitan Angel, I'm developing a chat application, as you have in the title. So yeah, it's just the beginning, it's just the second life. So yeah, stay in this life if you want to know more. I'm developing in Flutter, so yeah. And if you want to see the first live when I showed how to integrate with Firebase, then you are welcome to do that. Okay, so now Capitan Angel, no, I actually started to learn Flutter from scratch from the beginning of the year, but I have but before that I've been working for like 5 years in IT industry, but mainly as a .NET developer. But I had no idea about Flutter and mobile apps developing, but of course knowing .NET and basically C# was really helpful in understanding a lot of things from Dart. But anyway, let's just continue. The thing that I'm curious about is that our card is not in the center, and that might be because let's just open the home screen, not home screen, the login screen. Let's just wrap it with center maybe. Yeah, that helped. So we have the text form email with our email controller. We also need our password. So Basically, it will be really similar, but it will be, of course, different widget. It won't be text from email, but text from password. Of course, I could reuse the text for email with the password controller. However, the password text form should have obscure text so that we don't see what we are writing, because we are writing the password. And to do that, let's just create the new file and let's just call it text form password.dart file. Of course, move it to the login folder, and it will be also stateless widget. I can do it like this and write the text form again. However, maybe we can just copy the things that we have already created. So let's just copy text form email and pass it to the text form password. We need to remove some unused imports. Of course, we'll need that in other file as well. Anyway, yeah, the thing that we are interested in is the obscure text boolean parameter that we need to set up to true. And here, let's just put the password controller. What we need to do, and would be nice to do, because of course those are just underscores, but we need to have a hint text, so that it's saying that this is an email and this is a password. And to do that, basically we need to add the decoration property, which will be input decoration. Input decoration, and here we have a property called hint text, and for pass, this is email. For email to be email. Of course, this can be changed to const. Let's just rerun the application. Of course, I am wrong, because that's not a hint text, but optional text, that's label text, of course, not the hint text. Just name it email. And maybe that's not a hint text. What we have, helper text. Okay. Maybe it should be like this. Sometimes Flutter can be really misleading, so or maybe not. Okay, max line should be 1, of course. Max length, let's put 50. Oh, that's password. let's just copy this decoration max lines and max length to the password controller. Okay. This mystery is solved because that's need to be text form password and next form email. I forgot when I copied the code, I forgot to change the name of the widget. And now if we import our library and go back to the email, then of course the label text should be email. Okay. As you can see, we have the counter, which is counting the character numbers. However, for email and password, it's not really nice to do that. So what we can do, we can specify the counter widget, and it will be just an empty container. Therefore, the input declaration cannot be constant. So let's just use it in our password, and that looks much better. There are two things that I want to do. Well, first of all, I want to have our background to be a little bit different, to have the violet color, and to text to be white. There are two ways to do that. So either we can specify our text to be white in the text style property in our text form field, or we can do that globally by specifying the whole theme to be dark, or specifying the global text theme to be white as well. And let's do that globally. So if we go to the main.dart file and our color scheme, if we set up the brightness to be brightness.dark, then the magic has been applied, and our email and password is a white text. And if you write it, it's white as well. However, I think that the card color is actually a little bit it has too less contrast too little contrast with the violet color. So what we can do, maybe we can change it to deep purple. Okay, now it looks much better, and maybe the primary swatch will be purple or purple accent. Oh, primary swatch cannot be purple accent. Which color is good with? Okay, amber looks quite nice. Or maybe we can just put white. Yeah, maybe let's just put amber for now. Okay, so this is the first possible solution that we can do that. The second possible solution is that we can specify the text color, the text theme. It will be text theme, and here we can specify the body text2, which will be text style, and here we can specify color to be colors.white. And maybe that's not body text. maybe it's body text 1. Sorry for this mistake. It's always a lot of fun, as you can see. As you can see, maybe I can just rerun it. No. What we can specify there? A label. Maybe specify label large, medium, and small. Label large. Label medium. Label small, maybe. Yeah, if it doesn't work, then yeah, let's just forget about this. Maybe I will just make a short video about this in the future, how to specify the theming of the whole app. Anyway, let's just save it like this because I think it looks much better with the dark background. Of course, what we can do, we can specify the background color to be colors.pink, for example, or colors.. Okay, let's specify pink, and then I will show you how to use that. So what we can do, when we specify the color scheme and the background color, what we can do, we can go to our login form and we can wrap our card with or change our padding to container. And here we have color, but if we save it, we have color, so it will be a theme of context, and therefore we can go to our background color from that we specified in the main.dart file. Of course, I made it wrong because I would need to do it like this, and maybe okay. Maybe I will just stop theming. As you can see, I'm not a perfect person to be spontaneously doing the theming. There is a lot of fun, as you can see. So yeah, I'm pretty sure the background color can be specified somewhere, maybe here. Not. Scaffold background color, that's the one that I'm looking for. Yes, finally. And this is mainly because okay, can maybe remove that. It's mainly because, as you can see, we have our login screen, we have scaffold, and our scaffold background color is now amber because we specified the scaffold background color in our theme data. However, maybe we can change it to deep purple accent. It looks a little bit better, I think. And maybe we can just save it as it is now. What I want to do, I want to do a little bit more padding to this card. So to do that, let's just go to the login screen, our login form, and we have card that we can wrap in another padding, and that will be external padding to that card. So I'm talking about the space between card and the edge of the screen. So if we save it, you can see that the card is smaller now. What we can do else? Well, first of all, we can change this to padding. And we can specify the shape of our card. So it will be rounded rectangle border. And here what we can specify is the border radius. and it will be circular border radius, circular set up to 20. And now you can see our card has now rounded edges, which looks for me much nicer. So yeah, that's the email and password, and now let's continue with the buttons. So what we'll do now, okay, maybe we can just copy it to under the password input. We will create the button under email and password, and it will be called the login button or login email button, and then we'll create the login Google button. So let's just save it and create a new file, and it will be called login email, or maybe we can call it differently, button. Login email, so Dart file, and let's make it stateless widget, and let's name it button login email, and just return. It will be elevated_button.icon because for just made an empty function for now, because it will have an icon and a label. So the label will be just text, and here we'll specify what is the text of our button, and it will be just login. Sorry. And here the icon will be icons.mail. Of course, it needs to be const. And we have a lot of problems, but mainly it's removing the unused imports. But it's good to, from time to time, resolve those problems. Most of them are pretty simple to fix with adjusting the suggestion made by the Flutter extension. Okay, so we are doing the login and register button for email, so let's just add our button login email and see how it looks like. It looks like pretty nice. However, I would like to have this button to be for the on the whole possible width of our card. So if we go back to our elevated button, we can put the style here and it will be elevated. Oh, probably there are two ways to do that, or one way. Elevated button theme, button style maybe. Elevated button. There is no button style. Wait, what's that? Elevated button style from, and here you have the if I remember correctly, no, okay, sorry again. I'm not in a good form today, but anyway, the thing that always works is to put the double infinity in a size box, and now our button is white as possible. So yeah, so that's our login button. What we'll need to do, what we have more to do, confirm password input, that we'll do later. However, we will add the no account button. So let's just add it, and let's just add the new file. So it will be button no account Dart file with stateless widget no account, and it will be this will be text button, and let's just leave the onPressed to be an empty function, and as a child let's just put our text, and here let's just put no account, and by clicking this button our login form will change to registration form, and our text should be, instead of login, it should be register, and our no account text should be something like already have account, login instead, or basically just login instead. Just remove reused imports and go to our login form, and here let's just put our button no account. The one thing that I don't like is that this should be either on the right or on the left side. So let's just put it on the right side. So if we go back to our button no account, that's pretty much easy because we can wrap this with the align widget. And what we can do, we can put the alignment of the align to be alignment dot, it will be center right. And yeah, as you can see now it looks much better than being in the middle. So now we'll do the other things that I have put it in the comment. So we have the confirm password input. However, this should be only visible in the registering form. And here we need to have some kind of flag, or basically if check, and to basically distinguish between the login form and the registration form. But those forms only differ by the extra input that will be basically pretty much the same as the text form password. So what we can do, we can add a flag or a boolean that will determine if we are in the registration form or not. So of course let's just name it is registering, and in the beginning it is false. And what we can do now, we can add an if it's registering, then we add new text form password, and our controller will be confirm password controller. Needs to be separate controller as well. Of course, to test that, we can just simply, for testing, write it here true, and you can see that the extra password input has been added. However, what I don't like that here you have password in both inputs. So to do that, there are two ways. Either we can create a separate widget like text for confirm password, or what we can do, we can create in text form password, we can specify an argument, which will be a string, and then just name it label text, and we can add it as a required named property or argument to constructor. So here, instead of hard-coded text, it will be just label text. Of course, now it complains about missing argument in our form. So I will add a label text. Yeah, you can still see that, as I can see. So the label text here will be password, and the label text for confirm password will be, obviously, as you can guess, confirm password. And yeah, it works. After I save it, of course, our UI is refreshed. So yeah, we have our email, password, and confirm password. One thing that I haven't checked is to check if our password is basically not showing the letters. So yeah, it is password, there are dots there. It's because we specified the obscure text to true. So now let's check. Let's go back to our if is registering. So we only show password for now. So what we can do, whenever we click no account button, our login form needs to be changed to registration form. And to do that, well, as you could see before, our onPressed function is within button no account widget, but we need to have that we need to change the is registering boolean in login form widget. So now what we can do, we can specify the function that will be invoked in the button no account widget, but the definition of this function will be in login form widget. So therefore we would be able to change the is registering to true. So what we can do now, we can go to the button no account and we can specify the function, and let's name it onPressed function. Of course, let's have it as required. And whenever we press the button, then we need to run the function. So we need to execute this function, of course. Yeah. So now, of course, it is complaining about missing onPressed function argument. But we want it specified here. Let's just create a private method for that, so that our code is not too big in our build method. So yeah, press no account function, and we can create a method, press no account function, and this method will change the is registering form. Of course, I can specify it to true, but I'll specify it as the opposite value of current is registering. So whenever we will click it for the second time, we will go back to our login form. Of course, the text should be changed there as well. So to do that, well, maybe we can just save it and test it. So I'll just click no account, and voila, confirm password is shown. If I press it again, then it's going back to our login. So now what I don't like is that our no account text is not changing. So we can change that by adding extra argument here. Let's call it button text, and it will be dependent on is registering. So if is registering is true, it will be set to login instead, and if it's not registering, so if it's login, then will be no account. So yeah, now what we can do, we can go to the button no account button and specify that argument button text, and add it to required arguments of constructor. And of course our text widget will be no longer constant because it's dependent on our argument, so its value can change, and just save it. And maybe we can just rerun the whole application. Yes, it's working. Yeah, it looks really nice. So the other thing that we'll do, here we need to change our login to register text. So we'll basically do the same as for button no account. We can just copy the argument and add it to both button login email. So if it's registering, it will be register. If it's login, it will be, if it's not registering by login, it is just login. Of course, we need to add that property to our button login email widget. So this is called button text. Here it will be required this button text, and now it will be not hard-coded text but argument dependent. So yeah, it seems like it's working. So the next thing that we'll do, will be to have a Google login button. So to do that, well, we'll need a Google icon basically, and login by Google text or something like that. So what we'll do, we'll just create it as a separate widget. Let's call it button login Google.dart file, and let's just move it to login. It will be stateless widget. Button login Google, let's name it like this. Okay, and will be also elevated button .icon widget. So let's just return elevated button .icon. I just forgot to record this stream, so if something goes wrong, then I don't have any backup, but it's still working, so hopefully nothing will change. For now it will be an empty function because, as I told you, we won't do any backend here, but for icon, yeah, let's just put icon there, icons, and for icon Probably we don't have any Google Translate. Okay, for now let's just put mail as before, and for label let's just put text login by Google. And let's just add it to our column, so it is button login Google. Of course, for now it is constant. And we have made the same mistake as before. We forgot to add the size box, and we've set to double.infinity, so take as much space as possible in a width horizontally. So we have login by Google button. Of course, we don't like that they are both amber colored. So now we can specify the separate style for this button. And to do that, what we can do, we can add the style, which will be elevated button.style from, and we'll change the primary color. And for this one, I will change it to be white one. So colors.white. As you can see, it has changed. We only need to change the icon at the beginning, and to do that, maybe we can search for the MDE icons gallery. MDE icons is are a special package of material design icons where you can find some extra icons, basically that are not in the icons, and material design icons is also a package from pub.dev site. So with other packages, I just search by Google. Maybe they have it, maybe not. Yes, there is a Google. There. It's really nice. So let's just search for material design icons. Dev. Yes, it is material design icons Flutter. Of course, let's just copy the code for adding the package. Well, we need to stop our application for now. And let's just go to our terminal. Just go to the root folder of our Flutter project and add the material design icons Flutter package. And its usage of this package is really cool, because as you can see, the icon argument is an icon type of icon data, and the MDE icons, so material design icons, so the material design icons Flutter actually inherits from icon data class. That's why we can use it in basically in the icon widget, which is really cool. And we know that it's Google, so let's just change it to Google. And we can remove all the all unused imports. So now we can try to run the application again. This 1331, yeah, I was in Hogwarts, I was in Hufflepuff. Okay, as you can see, we have the Google icon from Material Design Icons. It would be nice maybe to change its color to the blue one. Yeah. Yeah, I think it looks a little bit better. So yeah, as we can see, everything works according to UI, of course, because today I won't show you how the backend works. So what we can do now is we can add some kind of icon or text at the top saying that it's our random chat application. However, I won't do that now because we don't have our application icon created yet. So yeah, I think for today that's all. If you like my video, then please you can make a donate for $1,000 or less, or you can yeah, you can subscribe to my channel and donate. And give a like and donate as well. So yeah, that's all for now. So next time I'll show you how to do the backend, the whole login and registration backend, and creating our users in Firebase Authentication and Firebase Cloud Firestore. So see you next time. Who is the best?